Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video, and for this one it really is something different because, well, it is a retro review in a way. The hardware is certainly retro because we're back on the good old Commodore 64, no more poncing around with newfangled Commodore 128s, but the game is certainly not what you would call retro. In fact, few things sum up my YouTube channel quite like the fact that the most recent game I have reviewed is a Commodore 64 title. Not only that, but this Commodore 64 title is currently the only 2017 release that I have reviewed so far, and we are, what, 4 days away from August. So yeah, I really do go in for the brand new stuff, eh? So this intro screen, quite well done, with the old scrolling messages on the bottom, very much old school, but that's what this game is all about. Old school gaming on an old school computer. And if you know me, you know full well that as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't get much better than that. So let's get to the actual title page. So this is Galencia, and this game was released this week. So yeah, by far the most recent game I've reviewed. It's also the most recent game I have. So this was, as you can see, coded by Jay Aldred. It was in fact Jay Aldred who got in touch with me asking me to do a review of the game. I first became aware of it about 6 weeks ago, when I got a comment on one of my earlier reviews from somebody called PC Baker. He's commented on a couple of videos now, and PC Baker is indeed this Jay Aldred here, who is the man responsible for this game, and he's been working on it for a fair old while. And here it is, all finished. Now this game is not freeware, and I freely admit I was one of who, well, I suspect is going to be a number of people who assumed that it is or was a freeware game, but it isn't. It costs $4.99 or $4.95. It is less than a fiver anyway. But it's not just available as a downloadable file for emulators. If you do have original Commodore 64 hardware, it is currently available on disc. It is going to be made available on cassette, so you know, if you're looking for real old school, there will be a cassette version. I'm hoping the cassette version will have loading music, just to give you that real sort of like sense of nostalgia. And it's not confirmed yet, but they are hoping that there will be a cartridge version. Personally, I don't see why they would want to do a cartridge version. It's going to be expensive to produce the cartridges, and the game really doesn't need to be on a cartridge. So, you know, I don't know if anything's going to come of the whole cartridge business, but I would say it's probably not worth it. Now, there are quite a few options within this game. So you press F1 to access the options panel here, and you can change the starfield brightness. So there's the 3 options there, so you can keep it fairly dull, all of the starfield blue, or you can have the blue and red, or the multicoloured. You can also change the score and timer palettes, so we can see the current colour scheme on them, and we have that, which is a bit garish. That, which don't look too bad actually, but I'll stick with the default. You can also load and save your high score, the high score tables. So I've just loaded in my last one. I keep actually forgetting to save my high scores, and then when I load the game up again, I keep forgetting to load the old one in. So I've lost loads of high scores. So yeah, I've done better than the high score table will show. In-game music, yeah, you can switch that on or off. Tournament mode, I must admit I haven't tried that yet. I will give that a try during this review if I remember. So there's plenty of options, certainly. There we go, so there's my previous best. So I've managed to get to stage 14 before. So right, anyway, enough of this waffle. Let's get on with the game itself. So here we go. So we start off with this intro sequence, and at the top there we have "Hi Amy here, ready for action." I don't know what sort of action she's ready for, but it's, you know, if she's talking to me, then she ain't getting any of that. So 50 attack waves, and the best I've managed is level 14. So here we go, and straight away you can see that the game is clearly based on Gallagher, but I do mean based. It's not just a straight Gallagher copy, and that is one of the worst starts I've made. But of course it would be. It's because I'm now fucking recording it. Now what I'm hoping is that this last fucker here will come down and capture my ship. That's what I wanted to do, because I'm a bit shit with... There we go. Right, so the ship's been captured. Just a la Gallagher. So now, there we go, destroy the enemy ship. Now we have the twin fighter, which is quite handy. Now, the game does start off somewhat innocuously, and it lulls you into a bit of false sense of security, I say, having lost a life on level 1, which I can't fucking believe I did that. Yeah, the difficulty does soon ramp up. Don't expect it to be a breeze from start to finish, because you're liable to be in for one hell of a surprise. As you can also see, there is quite a variation between each level. They're not all exactly the same, and it's not just graphical changes either. Oh, you fuckers, there we go. Right. Now you also see at the bottom there is a timer, and anyone who knows me knows that I really do not like timers. However, in the case of this, first of all, you have to be inept beyond belief to not be able to get through the levels before that timer runs out. So in fact, all it really is doing is deciding how much of a bonus you get. So anyway, you get an extra life having got through that first challenge stage, and because I've been playing so shit, I really fucking need it. Now, just like all of your old school coin op shooters, you have to keep hammering away on the fire button. There's no auto fire. Oh, for fuck's sake! I knew this was going to happen. I fucking done okay, you know, previously. Now that I'm actually playing it whilst doing the video, nah, now I've got to play like a fucking retard. I haven't got a fucking prayer getting through this level, because I'm pretty reliant on having the two fighters. But of course I can't let my ship be captured now because I'm on my last life. So if the ship gets captured, that's it, I'm fucked. It's game over. Alright, those two things that are bouncing around there, they do eventually stop bouncing, and then yeah, they disappear. So I can't, there we go. I've got to wait for that fucker to piss off before I can then attack it. There we go. There we go. Right. So on to stage 8. frankly, the way I've been playing this so far, I'm amazed I've got this far. But again, I can't let any of my fighters be captured because I don't have any more lives left. So even though I want the twin fighters, I can't fucking have them. Bastard things. Right, come on you fuckers. Oh, for fuck's sake! I don't know how the fuck I managed to survive that. Right, now this is almost certainly the level where I am finished, because these fuckers all take multiple hits to be destroyed, and yeah. Oh great. Well, what fucking chance do I have here? None, especially as I can feel my fucking arm seizing up. Oh! Fucking hell. Shoot 'em ups just weren't designed for fucking fat, unfit cunts like me. I've done better than I thought I was going to do, but you just know I put the kiss of death on it by saying that. Oh, fuck. There we go. Alright, so now we get through these, or try to get through these fucking meteors, and collecting the stars gets you bonuses, including extra lives, and I've just got one there, which I fucking needed. Most of the time you will get 10,000 point bonus. Not that that's, you know, particularly terrible, but I would rather get the extra life. So now I may be able to just lose a life. So I'm back to the last fighter again, so I can't do the fucking what do you call it, twin fighter thing at the next level. And right, there we go. So on the stage 11, oh, I really do not have a fucking prayer now. And again, he's, oh fuck, he's waiting to capture the fighter. There we go. Well, despite my extremely shitty start, I've got to stage 12 here. And the best I've done is only 2 stages beyond here. And there we go. Kiss of death once again. Bunging the old name. The fact that it saves your scores means I do enter it, but I do really wish that it used the keyboard to enter in the initials, not the arcade style. So right, let's see if I can do any better this time around. So I must admit, this intro sequence, I think it does look quite impressive. I can see high-res overlays on some of the graphics. The way they're coloured rather reminds me of the background buildings in Law of the West, which is not a bad thing, because I think the graphics there are pretty impressive. So having graphics along the same lines as that game, yep, I'll take that. Come on, come down here and try and steal me fighter. There you go. Oh, you! Oh, fucking hell! Oh, fucking that's the first time I've ever done that. Fucking what a useless cunt! Alright. And it's me trying to rush this and get this fighter captured. So already I'm down to my last life. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to fucking quit this go. Just get myself killed off because I'm done unbelievably shit. I'm not putting my name to that. Thank fuck for that. Right, okay, let's try that again. After this go, we'll actually get the review proper underway. 50 attack waves. Yeah, I managed to get to the second one. No, I didn't. I got killed on the first one there this time around because I fucked it right up. Yeah, I wanted to keep that one there so that I could do that. There we go. Alright, so now, like a dog with two ships, we can hopefully cause a bit more carnage and actually get somewhere now. Oh, you fucking cunt! Alright, well, so much for that. Okay, go and catch my ship. There we go. So I'm down to my last life, but hopefully I'm trying to be careful not to. So we just pretend that didn't happen, eh? Right, here we go. Right, now this is the last fucking go before I do the review proper. This is extremely indicative of what playing this game is like. You always say, right, last go, and then you find yourself having another go. But then that's what old school shoot 'em ups are all about. They just keep you coming back. Yeah, it's still my ship. Right. Let's try not to fuck this one up like I have constantly. There we go. So I got my ship back. See if I can actually keep this one for a little while. Oh, fucking hell, that was close. There we go. Right, we might actually start getting somewhere now. So I just take out vast swathes of waves before they get the chance to actually start attacking me, which is one of the reasons why I like having the two fighters, because it allows me to do that, and it also gives me a much better chance on this level, which is pretty tough otherwise because of all these aliens that require multiple hits. So I'm already down to just these cunts who come along at the end of the waves being built up. There we go. That's better. So what was the challenge stage? I can only assume that there are multiple challenge stages and they do get more difficult as they go on, because this challenge stage is not particularly difficult. So excellent shooting, you won an extra life. Oh, I thought he was gonna fucking there we go. This is more like it. Oh no, it's one of those fuckers. Right, there we go. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is the actual storyline behind the game, because there is one. Apparently the human race has been wiping out bees, and there's been some sort of warning that we weren't supposed to be doing that. Not just the warnings from, you know, all the environmentalist Nazis and that. So because the bee population is dying out, suddenly all these bee guardians have arrived from space to try and sort us out, because we're being such cunts towards the bees, and that's who we are defending ourselves from. If nothing else, it is certainly original. So I want my ship to be fucking captured, but no. So I got off to a pretty good start, but now I think I'm royally fucked. Especially fucking hell, I don't know how I got through that. I said, go on, take me ship. There we go. There we go. So I've got my second ship back, and there we are. So now I'll try and collect the stars. Don't think I'll be getting any extra lives. Fuck, hey, that was close. And that was just fucked up. So I got extra life there. I could, yeah. Last fighter. Mind you, my score's pretty good. Well, for me anyway. I may be a fan of old school shooters, but yeah, I'm not exactly a fucking genius at playing them. Yeah, I can see that happening. There we go, so game over. So, well, that is Galencia in action. Absolutely, you know, old school shoot 'em ups at their best, I'd say. Let's save the high score there, and I'll remember to actually do it. So, what do I think of it? Well, let's get on with graphics. Graphically, I think the game is fucking superb. The Commodore 64's colour palette doesn't really lend itself very well to doing this sort of arcade conversion, where the coin-op originals all use extremely bold, very vivid colours. But they've got around it. I don't quite know how, but they've managed to keep all of the ships extremely brightly, boldly coloured, which is almost a trademark of the coin-op games that this was clearly influenced by. And then you've got the inclusion of little extra features like the star field, which so many arcade coin-op conversions and classic shoot 'em ups didn't have. Certainly not when they were converted to the Commodore 64, but they've got it here, so yeah, it could be done. And I don't think it's just a case of, well, maybe they can do it now in 2017 but they couldn't then. I'm sure they could. The question is more a case of why didn't they? Everything moves pretty fast. It certainly moves pretty smoothly. In fact, there's no pretty about it. The smoothness is there from start to finish. So it looks good and it moves really well. In terms of audio, the title page music is a bit tinny, but I mean, we are talking very minor sort of, issues. It's not like it's a fucking big deal that the music is a bit tinny. I'm sure plenty of players could quite rightly live with that, no problem. The in-game sound effects, your shots are they do sound a bit puny. The shots of the enemy aliens, though, they do sound really good. There is also in-game music, which is, to be honest, quite forgettable, but what they have done is they've kept the in-game music down to perhaps 2 channels. I think it's actually only 1, so that way the sound effects don't constantly interfere with the music and cause half the music to cut out. So you've got the whole music as it should sound. So yes, it may sound somewhat simple and somewhat basic, but at least it plays all the way through without interruption, so I'm more than okay with that. And then you get the gameplay. I mean, it's, you know, come on, it's old school shoot 'em up, a la Galaga, you know. Of course, I think it's fucking great. It does start off pretty innocuously, and it does lull you into a sort of sense of, oh, okay, this is going to be fucking easy, but it is not easy, especially when later levels, such as I think this one that's coming up, okay, no, the next one, where the asteroids are making their way down and you have to somehow fly through them. That level is quite the tricky one. Or this one, okay, so this wasn't the level I had in mind, but yeah, these levels are pretty tricky as well. So, I mean, the difficulty level is there, but you find that you can progress at a pretty good rate. And so here we go, this is the really tricky one that I was referring to. But because you are able to make that progress, it always has you coming back to play it again. That was close. I've actually find myself comparing this to Gorf and thinking of this as like a 21st century version of Gorf. Okay, it's not because, you know, each level plays like, you know, a different level of a classic arcade game, which is what Gorf was all about. It was basically, now that's what I call music for coin-op arcade machines. With this, I mean, it's a lot more subtle. It's like they have taken various aspects of different classic shoot-em-ups and amalgamated them into just one level. So, for example, I mean, the obvious similarity is with Galaga, but there are aspects of, for example, Super Space Invaders. Some of the formations, this one, for example, that the aliens adopt, I've only seen them, or at least I can only remember seeing them in Super Space Invaders. So it does look like they've used, yeah, the formations from that game. And then as you play it more, you suddenly spot other sort of similarities with other shoot-em-ups, and you think, yeah, okay, I recognise that. Not for any bad reason. It may be, okay, yeah, you recognise it from another game, but that doesn't mean that, you know, it's just a straight out and out, oh yeah, we'll just fucking rip this game off and clone it and blah de fucking blah. No, they have always given it their own slant, and like I say, the fact that they've amalgamated all of these features into one title, you fuck, really does you know, give it its own sort of uniqueness, even though it is based on very well known coin-op arcade games. So this is now the furthest I've ever got. Oh, you fucker! I only missed that one last one. And then, okay, there's also your ranking that is appearing at the bottom there in the form of badges, very much like Gorf there. And if you've seen my review, you will know that I am a big fan of Gorf. So, you know, a game having similarities with Gorf like that, yeah, I'm quite okay with that one. That was fucking close. So, you know, we are well into what is by far the best I've done in this game to date. That does rather say more though about how shit I am at these sort of shoot 'em ups than anything else. God. Oh, you. Right, let's see if I can get another ship captured, but I mean, I am gonna have a bit of difficulty here, I think. There we go. And that's the fight that got back. Oh, I thought he was going to fucking fly into me there. Oh, fucking hell. Right, here we go. So, on to stage 19. You know. So, what rating does this get then? It gets 9.5 out of 10. If you are even slightly interested in old school shoot 'em ups, you definitely want to check this out. You know, five quid is all this game costs, and well, if you are a fan of these old school games, then this represents far greater value for money than any fucking, you know, modern PC game that I can certainly think of. You know, I can't believe I've made I can't believe I got this fucking far. Oh, bollocks, I missed that one. I want to try and get one of... Well, I certainly want to try and get an extra life now, because I want to do the last fighter, and I won't be able to have the double ship in any later levels. That said, it would also be quite handy if this review wouldn't last quite so fucking long. Oh, that was not done intentionally, but I'm not sorry about that. So actually, I'll rate this 9.5 out of 10. It's not quite a 10 out of 10, because say the music on this title page here is a bit weedy, a bit tinny, and the sound effect on your ship when it's firing sounds a bit weedy. But that really is about it. Like I say, these are very minor sort of negative points, and they really don't matter all that much. But then, you know, a score of 9.5 out of 10 should tell you that if you like your old school shoot 'em ups, you have to get this. It is as simple as that. So that is Galencia then for Commodore 64. I'll put the link to the website as to where to order the game, whether you want the digital file or if you want the physical media. And if this is your sort of game, you know, old school shooters, which they certainly are mine, then I can't recommend highly enough. Buy it. So there you go, Galencia for Commodore 64. That brings this review to an end, and we will see you at the next one.